All right, so let me tell you guys a little bit about what we're doing tonight. So I have in the Land of Dimidium here. Happy Monday, folks. Yep. Hey, nice to see you, Mike. All right, there's pretty good. Excellent. So I'm going to bring up the world map here, and we're going to talk about what's going on tonight. The map is gigantic, as you can see. So I will actually we'll do it this way because I think this will be better. We'll go right. Yeah, whatever. I'll just cover my face. It's fine. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to be on the continent of Akari, and we're going to be worrying about Dragonborn today. Now, in this world, the Dragonborn are actually... you're not that late, no problem. I'm only just getting started. We're just working out some usual kinks, but things are different. I had to set up a whole new scene and everything in OBS. It's nice to talk to you guys as if you're just kind of like hanging out. So here's what's going on. Right now, the troop here is in the Bush of Gilriel, and they are roughly... probably around where like the J or maybe the L are, somewhere in there. And they, depending on what they do, maybe they go up to Knife's Edge, maybe they go somewhere else. Doesn't matter. But what I did want to do is in this world, there exists Dragonborn. Now, Dragonborn, let me kind of tell you guys a little bit about Dragonborn just in case you don't know. So Dragonborn are not like half human, half dragon. Those are actually half dragons. But Dragonborn are kind of their own species, and you can think of them similar to the Lizardmen, where those aren't just half human, half lizards, they are Lizardmen. And Dragonborn are dragon people. So in the case of Dragonborn, at least in Forgotten Realms, which is the default setting for D&D, at least for 5th edition, but we could argue that point. But regardless, for Forgotten Realms, which is where most people will know them from in the current edition, they are a very specific kind of people. They are not like angry beasts the way that some other species would be. In fact, they're more like honorable warriors. But their whole situation is that they want to be kind of the best at anything. There's no honor for them in being second best. And their whole physicality involves being the different various colors that normal dragons would be. I realize now I'm talking about this and I'm talking to a bunch of people who prefer whiskey, so I think I'm going to have to start somewhere else. But let me grab myself a whiskey. So, I am going to have the Revenant Oak here. It's a peated whiskey. I picked this up when I was... I'm using the DSLR today, so it's not going to focus as well. But I picked this up when I was in Texas. And it's very good. Oh no, the cork just broke off. Oh, that's the worst. And I don't really have anything good to do with... to fix that down here. Well, I guess I'm not drinking this tonight. I'll have to fix that. Boy, that's a good start. Alright, let's, I could kill off this... Well, not tonight. I can't kill this off, but I want to work on killing off this Broken Barrel. So this is a Mizunara cask finish from Broken Barrel whiskey. They basically take barrels that have been used, they break them up, they take MGP, and then they kind of finish the whiskey by tossing a bunch of wood staves into a barrel along with it. So in the case of this, they did it with Mizunara. So, yeah, man, it's surprising. You went with Booker Shiny Barrel. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't broken a cork in a long time. Actually, the last time I broke a cork, I did a video on it because I was like, what do I do with this? But anyway, so let's go ahead and have a little cheers, guys. Cheers. And cheers to anybody who happens to be watching on Twitch. But tonight's going to be about sipping whiskey, but not necessarily like evaluating it. So let's get back to Dragonborn. So when we're talking Dragonborn, let me kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So we're going to go Dragonborn. We're going to be doing a whole lot of searching and throwing things up on the screen and teaching you guys a little bit more about D&D, because I know it's not a lot of you are watching this because you like the YouTube channels, and that's wonderful. And I love that. I think you guys should. But let me see. Where did I put this stuff? Well, I guess I'll do it the easy way. So we're going to switch over to this web page here. So this is where I'm going to be getting some names later. But Dragonborn. And we'll go D&D. So if you look at this, we have this guy is kind of the quintessential... Whoops. Let's get rid of... let's get rid of the webcam. This guy's kind of the quintessential Dragonborn that they show in our books. But there's all kinds. You could be all kinds of different classes. You could be a fighter, you could be a bard, you could be a sorcerer, actually. They make great sorcerers. But as you can see, they're more like draconic in their look, right? So, actually, this guy's really cool. And the idea with them is that they, like I was saying, they want to be perfectionists. So they want to be warriors, and they're going to be proud. They're going to be honorable. But I heard kind of an interesting little breakdown when I was kind of learning a little bit more about them earlier today to prep for the stream. And the guy said, he's like, let's picture that you were fighting side by side with another warrior, you two Dragonborn, and one Dragonborn, as he's dying, he says, avenge me. Like the other Dragonborn next to him, if he doesn't think he can, he'll say no, which is so backwards to the way that like humans would think. Like you want to give somebody that comfort in the last seconds of their life, and it's for it to just be like, well, no, I'll die too. Like there's no sense in that. So no, I'm not going to avenge you. But that's the thing. Like they can't say something if they don't know that it's true. They're not like braggadocious. They're not whatever. I think you guys get it. So when I start thinking about Dragonborn, I'm like, okay, so what do I want them to be like in my world? For the most part, things in Dimidium are similar to how they are in Forgotten Realms as far as the personality of the monsters or the creatures or the whatevers. The gnomes are little gnomes that tinker with stuff, and they run around and they look funny. Especially Agnomeio. And like the elves are in the woods, or they're high elves, they're like hoity-toity. But like I wanted to see, did Dragonborn make sense in that concept of this honorable fighter in my world? And first off, yes. Like I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to just create something brand new using something that already exists. Otherwise I may as well just create something brand new. So I do want that. And so then I started thinking, okay, what would their world look like? Now, this is the kind of thing that I start thinking about when I'm world building a bit, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the place that they're going to live. So if we bring back up Dimidium here, so where this little dragon head is where I want them to be. And they are right near the Passageway of Fangs, which is a location that I made forever ago. Next to the Thunderhowl Mountains. And the idea here, and I'll just, none of this is really given much away because some of these pieces would be kind of just known as a person within the world. But Adriana, if I'm going to reveal something, I'll just tell you to block your ears. And any other players who happen to show up. I did tell most of them, like, hey, don't come by tonight. But, come by and say hi, but don't hang out just in case I get a little too loose-lipped. Oh. You know what I should do? I'm going to do this real quick. So we're going to hide Dimidium. I'm going to make another scene. Dimidium. See me yet? We're going to do boom, 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 boom. We're going to drop this over here. And I'm going to make my DSLR, my video. There we go. So now I can actually talk to you guys and you can see me. And I can show you the around the world. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we're going to put the Dragonborn basically in this little gully on the top right here. And I like that a lot, mostly because I have this concept in mind of, I realized what I was going to explain to you guys that will make a lot of this make a lot more sense. So Dragonborn take on the chromatic or metallic, or lately the gem variety of normal dragons, even though they are not half dragons. They just go along with what dragons are. And the way that you want to think about this is chromatic dragons tend to be the bad guys. Metallic dragons tend to be the good guys, although they're still will totally eat you. And then gem dragons are neutral. So in D&D we have an alignment chart. There's good, there's neutral, and there's evil. And so that's kind of how they work out. Chromatics, black, blue, green, red, white are bad. There's all kinds of stuff I could teach you about them, but we'll save that for another time. And then you've got the metallic dragons, bronze, gold, silver, copper, and the other one, which I don't need to remember. Cobalt. They are more of the good guys, and they all have their own hold on a sec. Hey Eric. They all have their own mentalities and the way that they have personality traits and whatnot. Bright and shiny good, colored and dull evil, and gems are just neutral. Exactly, yep. I'm really excited about the gem dragons, and knowing that there is a big Yes, Jason, you can totally watch it if you'd like to. If I'm going to give away anything that I think will be a problem, I'll just tell you to close your ears. I don't think I actually told you guys not to watch this, so I appreciate the fact that you showed up. And it's funny knowing that you guys were able to pop in here. We should have just played, but oh well. So knowing that the Rift of Qualis here exists, and it's just a giant area of amethyst, I could see there being some sort of an amethyst dragon there. Maybe one already exists, maybe one doesn't. We'll have to talk to Jason and see. He lived there as a child. We'll have to see if anything exists there. But there are other areas within Dimidium where you could naturally have dragons show up. The disintegrated peaks, that actually would be, and this gives nothing away, the big red dragon on the front of pretty much all of our media. He hangs out there, and we'll learn more about him eventually. But let's go back to the Passageway of Fangs. So when we consider this general dissonance between the metallic and the colored dragons, I wanted to play into that. Now, many of us have probably played Skyrim, and when you think about sorry, I'm just reading the chat here. When you think about the idea, going back, Skyrim. So when you think about the idea of that very first town that you go into, Whiterun, where there is a kind of like a feud, I guess you want to say. It's not necessarily like a blood feud, not constantly fighting, but it's a tension. And there's a thing between, I forget the names of the two clans, the Briars and the something or other. But no, the Briars was a different one. Either way, they're Battleborn and another one. Either way, there is a conflict, and they still live in the same city, but there's a conflict. And I liked that dynamic. I wanted it to be that they're all living there, but it's still a problem. So I wanted to expand upon that. Now, there's a few other things that we've established within the game so far about Dragonborn. And if you remember Vutha from Tempest Traders, not Tempest Traders, sorry, what is it? Peerless Potables. So he was a green Dragonborn. So, maybe it's a little strange that he was the way he was, but that was what made Vutha kind of special. So Vutha was from this area near the Passageway of Fangs. And this area does not have a name yet. We're going to give that a name tonight, I hope. But somewhere between the Thunderhowl Mountains and the Passageway of Fangs, right to the northeast of this river, there's like a little gully here. And that's where the Dragonborn are going to be hanging out. So there's a lot of space here. We can fill in quite a bit as far as terrain goes. There could be a forest there. There could be lake there. I have no qualms with adding extra stuff because as far as I'm concerned, the players have a map and maybe the map's outdated or just not complete. So that's where we're going to start. So I always personally like to try to come up with a cool name for a location first, and I'd love to ask you guys to help me come up with a name. If anything strikes you as a good idea, just throw it out there, and that would be fun. I would love to have some audience interaction with the development of this area of the world, and I think that would actually be very cool. That's what I'm hoping to get done here. Otherwise, I would just do this offline. So we're going to come up with a name. We're going to come up with some random little traits or whatever, and then maybe we're getting to drawing a map. And if once we've drawn the map, we'll kind of give some thought as to what the terrain would lend itself to as far as actually creating a city. And in this world, my Dragonborn, they're not really city people. They're more... I liked the idea of them being similar to Goliaths in that they're more, not necessarily nomadic, but never really got past, like, they live in... not teepees, but something like that. A little bit more like giant tents. I liked that concept. I want the feel of this area to be not necessarily dusty, but definitely like coal in the air. I want there to be like manufacturing. Think almost dwarven, but not so refined. Like I want to hear the clanging of metal from like weapons being created. I want to hear animals. That's another thing that I kind of want to do with these guys is I want to have there be a location within this area that is like a menagerie for hunted beasts that they've captured, And maybe the players could even buy some of these things as like a pet or a mount or something like that, or for whatever reason they want. But I loved the idea of there being some like a hunting guild, which will probably just be the Fang and Feather, which makes a lot of sense. And then have that be one of the features here. So we're going to expand upon a lot of this stuff, and I'm totally just spitballing here. So we've got Cullertonville. Any chance for a steel dragon appearance? Love the content. Maybe. We'll see. So Eric's saying yurt. So yes, a yurt, exactly. At first I was like, as the town name, but no, yeah. Like a yurt is, if I'm picturing a yurt properly, which I believe is enclosed. Yeah, not quite what I was thinking, but you're in the right frame of mind. So what I'm considering here is with the Thunder Howl Mountains and whatever happened at the Disintegrated Peaks, which the players will hopefully learn about someday, I think that the general climate of this area is very dry. I don't think that they're going to have a whole lot of rainfall, like at all. So I don't think walls... Oh, and the fact that they're in this gully here, I don't know that like climate is a huge factor for them. So walls on a giant tent just doesn't strike me as exactly what they're going to need. But maybe. That's minutia that we can totally get into. Hey, Knobolas. So Knobolas, people are hanging out anyway, so you could just hang out if you want. All right, so let's pop over to here. So we're going to get rid of that. Oh, that's not the one. I want my notes page. All right, so I've got my Dragonborn town. Now, I have this template that I use whenever I'm coming up with a new town, which, given has only been a couple of them so far. You guys have only seen one. But there's a whole lot of little things that I like to fill in regarding, you know, how to build this. And making sure that there's enough points of interest to make it interesting. But one thing I want to challenge myself to tonight is actually going a little beyond what I would normally do as far as making a town. I don't want this to be a town where Dragonborn hang out. I want this to be a town with some sort of factor that is magical. And let me actually, I should have my DSLR up here. Sorry. Again, brand new scene. Okay, we'll do that so that you can see my wonderful mug. Losing the raincoat with the nipples cutouts. Exactly. So anyway, I want to make sure that there's some factor here that's magical, something that is just crazy. You know, maybe there's. I had this idea that I wanted there to be, with this whole concept of them always wanting to be the best and this honor concept, like there should be some sort of games, but they don't want each other to die. So I don't want it to be like where the lizard folk fight in the what did I call it? The fire battle, the circle of fire, whatever. So I didn't want that, because it's not about killing each other and attaining dominance. This is about showing your dominance and proving it without killing people. So I want to expand upon that fact today as well, and come up with something where this is a trial, like they do every year, or maybe even a couple times a year, as a way to show who like the best warrior in the whole area is. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the very beginning of Horizon Zero Dawn, where Aloy was undertaking some trials to beat out all the rest of the people in her tribe. If anybody played that game, it was amazing. But I loved that idea. Like, it should be to challenge what they've learned and prove who is the strongest. And then maybe with this whole fact that I don't know if I've actually mentioned this, but Dragonborn actually don't really like dragons. Maybe the people who are the best at this get together and they go hunt dragons, and then they'll bring that shit back. That's a cool idea too. So, I am the tallest. I need to get the flaps to cover the cutouts. Coming of age young lizards go off on their own and bring back a trophy. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Yep. That's totally what I'm thinking. It could be that that is part of the trial, is maybe there's some sort of a hunt. That could be cool too, especially with that whole concept of the beast menagerie. Maybe bring back something, and every time that people go out, they have to bring back something better or equivalent. You know, if they don't bring back something better, then they've failed. maybe the first people brought back a hill giant. Maybe the second people brought back like some sort of crazy beast. I don't really know. I'd have to look. But that's a cool name. All right, cool idea. All right, so let's get into this because I'd like to get started here. So we're gonna need a name for this city. So I've got a couple of ideas, and I'm interested in what you all think. But here's where I'm leaning right now. Is I'd like to maybe hold on. I'm just gonna drop this over here so we can do everything in one tab, and it'll be easy. So these are Dragonborn names, and this isn't quite gonna be what I'm looking for, but I'm hoping it'll give some inspiration. So when I'm coming up with a name for a place, it's either going to be based off the location, based off of something that happened there, based off some sort of famous creature from that location. It could be any of these things. And so knowing it's the passageway of fangs. Let's see. The audio is weird only in my left ear. Let me fix that for you. That's probably true. Give me just a moment, please. I have to imagine that I can fix that. Mono. Yep, I'll make it mono. Whoops, that's the wrong one. So that should be better, hopefully. Let me know. Yeah, that should be better. Sorry about that. Yeah, I saw that. I do use D&D Beyond. Unfortunately, I already own everything. So, hard to find developmentally significant food. Yeah, so that is something that occurred to me earlier as well, Eric. Are they oviraptorous or oviparous? They could have stadium capture the net. Oh, okay, they eat eggs. Yep. So, I've never seen oviparous. I've heard oviraptor, which is more probably just a bird that eat whatever. Anyway, better now. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Just got Spelljammer. Yeah, I'm skipping Spelljammer. Okay, lay eggs. Thanks. So what are the ones that eat? I guess it doesn't matter. So you got Spelljammer. Yeah, I'm skipping that one. Only just I have no real plans to run anything in space, at least no time soon. So the way it feeds into my stereo system, I hadn't noticed a problem, but now sounds better. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. All right, so here's what I'm thinking is, do you guys think that we should come up with a cool origin story for this location? Should we base this off some historical being who did something cool and then come up with a story for that? Or should we do something else? I'd love to hear what you guys think. So what class do I usually play? I don't. I've only been playing D&D for a couple of years, and I've been a DM the whole time. So I've played a couple of one shots. I did one on this channel, which was amazing, and I always wanted to play a wizard, but I want to play a wizard in a campaign. But we did the one shot where Ed led it, and that was the House of Victor von Gugelgagel, Gugelgaken, and I played a barbarian, which was a surprise. But he was a Dragonborn, so it actually kind of helped. You want more whiskey puns? Yeah, we can make that happen. All right, so you want some more whiskey puns. So let's see. What can we do related to Dragonborn? We could just call it Ragnar's Ravine or something like that, which actually could kind of work. But I have some ideas for Ragnar. I'll keep those to myself. Let's see. So this area, so we've got the Thunderhowl Mountains, which let me just make this a little bigger. Actually, can I make this bigger without having to? No, I can't. Of course not, because why would I? But I can make this bigger like this. There we go. Now we can see it just a tad bit better. All right, so if we think about the Thunderhowl Mountains, so the Thunderhowl Mountains, I'll even just say this. So this right here is a dwarven city, and then there's another dwarven city here, Erngor Zuak. It's funny, I said all these things out loud before I put them on the map, but it's been a while. So there's a few different various dwarven cities and villages around here. This is kind of the main one up here. And I do expect that the Dragonborn will be trading with the dwarves to some degree. I'll have to figure out what the Dragonborn would be able to trade back. But my thinking is that there's probably a pass, say down here, that, they can import a lot of what they're not able to grow or cultivate themselves. So let's see, what else do we have? Have a well there filled with fireball. Glen Dragonic. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's probably what it's going to be. Fangalore. Fangalore. Oh, use Glen instead of Valley. Oh, that's really good. That might be the one to beat. All right, so let's think about that. Let's use that as the temporary name if we don't come up with something better, but I like that a lot. Glen Dragonic. That's wonderful. All right. So now the tagline, Glen Malort. We'll see if we come up with something a little bit more, but I do like the idea of doing more whiskey puns on this map. There's a few of them, some of them that you guys haven't seen yet, actually. Guarded by a fake cyclops that's actually a dragon that hoards whiskey. Whoa. All right. So tagline slash nickname. This would be kind of what people refer to this area as, which we can kind of maybe that'll happen organically. Now, I would like this to be a rather large settlement because most of the Dragonborn in this world are going to either start here and then kind of go fan out or possibly find their way back at some point. Like I want there to be a kinship among the Dragonborn, which is kind of the main thing that keeps them from killing each other, is that they are still a minority in this world. And so if they start killing each other off, they're going to be even less and less of them. Cyclops is a whiskey brand? I don't know that one. Malort is what they're famous for. All right, maybe we'll make a Malort beast. Malortitia. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so I'm going to make this a size of, we're going to pop back over here. So we're going to make this roughly, I don't know, let's say there's 5,000 of them roughly in the area, possibly a little bit more. But we might, you know what, let's just up that because I feel like we're going to need more. There's going to be about 10,000 Dragonborn that live in this area. Their attitude towards travelers. So let's see, how would a Dragonborn, I think that a Dragonborn would probably, I think that they would look favorably upon travelers of worth, because the idea of them wanting to be the best that they can will inevitably come. Here's my line of thinking. I think that if they want to be as good as they could possibly be at everything, I think at some point they're going to realize that they need to learn from other creatures. It's not just going to be, we're Dragonborn, so we are the best naturally no matter what. It's going to be, well, you know what, those elves are really good at whatever, archery, so let's learn from them, and then we're still Dragonborn, so we're going to do it better, but we can learn some new techniques. So I think that their attitude towards travelers is going to be curious, with a penchant for not distrust. I think they're going to be curious, but quick to dismiss if they're not, if they show no value. Also, anybody who comes through those mountains is going to have to be somewhat tough. So I think that's going to be good. Now, their attitude towards players, we don't know yet. So we're going to keep that one at the moment. Their architectural style. So we did actually kind of talk about this a little bit. So they're going to be like, what would a yurt be without sides? Probably just a tent. What are different types of yurts? Gurs and bentwood yurt. I don't know. This is totally what I normally do, though. I'm just like, I don't know what this is, so let's look it up. A hut. Could a hut make more sense? Well, let's go back to the map for a sec. So what do they have for natural resources here? At the moment, nothing. Well, so that's kind of it, Steve. This is a huge area. They're going to be all throughout this whole valley. It's going to be busy, is the way I'm thinking. And these could be large yurts. You know, we're talking huge. But you know what? They've got stone. Maybe yurts makes no sense. Maybe they build their homes out of stone. And that can help to protect from Dragonfire if they ever come back. You know what? That actually makes a lot more sense. But this is great, Steve. Perfect. It's a region, yes. I'm sorry. I'm kind of stretching a lot of stuff here. This whole region, from pretty much the white dotted line up to the Dragon Head, is where they live. It would be more populated up towards the Dragon Head, but they're going to be in this whole area because even if they're going to want to mingle, they're not going to want to be near each other too much. So I'm thinking like the north side is probably going to be like the Chromatics, and then the southeast side is going to be more the metallic area, and then maybe the gem dragons, if they even exist. They live kind of near this hill. Who knows? We'll have to figure that part out. Tents makes sense in a region. Yeah, no, tents in a city does not make sense. Good call. Is there a silverfish in D&D? Have them living in the well, and maybe a secret passage in it that will lead to a statue of one-eyed dragon fighting that will seem to be... If they stayed here, there has to be resources or other reasons to stay. Yeah. So here's an idea. So in D&D, there exists a thing called the Underdark, which is passageway, the Underdark itself is, think of just like a whole world beneath your feet. Go down like a couple of miles, and then you've got a whole nother world of all just caves and lots of bad stuff. Is there a reason for them to want to go down there? Or is that potentially like what they did that causes them to need some help from the players? You know, this is something to think about. Drow, Draugr, Mind Flayers. I'm more excited about the Mind Flayers. But we'll see if they ever show up. That could be kind of cool. Too much? Okay, I'll go. No, Score, you're awesome. Keep, please. Yeah. I don't want to focus too much on quests at the moment because some of the players are watching and I don't want to give anything away. But also, I think those are things that will naturally kind of come across. Let's see. No, goblins don't really live in the Underdark. At least, I mean, there's a type of gnome that lives down there. But also, this could be anything I want down here. So we'll see. Let's get back to the problem of resources. What can they do? What can they do that would actually help the world or give them something to trade? There could be very specific kind. Would they be nah, they wouldn't be miners, not with dwarves living so close. And this is kind of where I start thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, do I need to change the map a little bit? Because they're really close to the coast, and it's just, it's offset by those mountains. Is there a reason for them to go to the coast? And I'm thinking not really. I think that, what could their main export be? Could it be warriors? Maybe maybe you can come and recruit them for whatever war or army or whatever you need. That could be a good idea. Dragonborn tend to be, they have a penchant for sorcery as well, so they could be sorcerers. Although, funny thing about Dragonborn is they really don't like religion, so you're not going to get any clerics or anything like that. Gem metallic ore mining, that's a good idea, actually. Maybe, I kind of want to focus a little bit on some of these gem dragons, because gem dragons are new to D&D, at least in their... Sapphire dragons existed for a while, but like there's a whole lot more types of dragons. Mining for gems is interesting. We could maybe we could have the dwarves more mining for ore and metal, obviously finding gems, but these guys specifically look for gems. Which kind of goes a little bit into, actually, so things are coming together a little bit. So the Dragonborn, one of their traits is that they love to adorn themselves in jewelry as well, but they'll tend to make their own jewelry. So that gives them a reason to want to trade with the dwarves. But again, we come to this, what are they trading? Maybe they're trading beasts. Maybe their whole thing is to scour these mountains for some sort of hard to find beast or creature, and they sell them as a that wouldn't be enough of a business though. It's definitely part of it. What else? Let's see. The river could kick out alluvial gem fields downstream. Interesting. So then they're more like miners. Gems of focus powers. So maybe it's a very specific kind of gem. Let's see if we can play into the Thunder Howl Mountain concept. So Thunder Howl Mountain. So what could that be about? Well, I liked the idea of Thunder. When I named it Thunder Howl Mountains, my thinking was that the dwarves have probably dug deep enough that, these massive caverns, it's not about the wind blowing over the mountains, it's about the echoes and the sounds coming from underneath the mountains was the thunder howl. And just the clanging of steel and ore and whatnot. Volcanism plus caves. Yeah, exactly. Balrog. Rare minerals, spell components, sulfur. Yeah, you know what? I like that. All right, so let's say, so there is another thing that is kind of helpful here, is Vutha kind of opened the gate for alchemy. There's a flower that's, I think I called it an ash blossom, and ash blossoms only grow here and outside of Vutha's store. And that was something that came up in, I think it was the very first episode, or maybe the second. Yeah, the very first episode. Second episode, sorry. And that could definitely be part of it. So maybe there's a number of material components that they cultivate in this one Glen Dragonic that is one of their exports. Along with that, they export themselves as warriors to fight in battles if necessary, or be bodyguards. But also they will procure, griffins. Maybe they find and tame griffins and sell them around the world. There's a lot of mountains here. Maybe the griffins live in this area, and that's something that maybe there's your. I think that this is coming together a little bit. All right, so let's go for the notes here. So I'm gonna write this up at the top. So we've got young Dragonborn go on a quest to capture, and tame is the wrong word, but I'll just write tame, griffins to prove their worth. They go in groups of 3, and only one of them can ride the griffin back. So that's a thing. They cultivate ash blossom and other material components that only grow within Glen Dragonic. Freaking love that. You nailed it. Dave, you're awesome. All right. That only grow within Glen Dragonic. And all right. We'll come up with what some of those are. They capture and sell beasts for curios. I don't know if that's the proper way to say that, but as curios. Let's say as curios. To be sold around the world, and offer their fighting prowess as warriors for hire. Okay, so that gives them some stuff to do. Now, that's not going to support an entire nation, entire region, but we can work off that. I mean, they are still in a ravine, so they're going to be able to grow some stuff. They grow some of their own food. Trade with the dwarves within the Thunder Howl Mountains. Trade with the dwarves within the Thunder Howl Mountains for gold to make their jewelry. All right, cool. So we'll kind of go from there. I like this so far. This is great. I'm liking this. Now, Dave says rare mineral spell components, sulfur. Yeah, exactly. So that's perfect. I'll actually expand that just a little bit. Gems, sulfur. Is sulfur with an F? I think it's PH. Sulfur, whatever. And then we'll go. Yeah, they distill alcohol that tastes strangely of the sea. Interesting. I do think that would be. They could use the ash blossom to brew some alcohol of some sort, or distill some alcohol. We'll get into that in a little bit. I think I like that. Let's reduce the size from 10,000 down to 5,000, because I think let's even go a little lower. Let's go to like 3,000, because I think it's going to. Well, let's see. So if we've got 10 different, if we have 15 different types of potential Dragonborn, simple math. So we've got 3,000 divided by 15. So that's only going to be about 200 of each type, which actually is pretty good. Yeah. Divided among 15 different types of dragon of ancestry. Cool. All right, so let's get back to the architecture. So we've got visual features and quirks. They're surrounded by stone. I think it would be silly to say that they do anything other than just build them out of stone. So simple huts made out of stone, some larger that provide defense. Okay. With the idea there being is that some of these larger buildings are going to provide defense if they ever are attacked by actual dragons, because occasionally they go hunt them and they're worried about retaliation. But in general, they've just got a whole bunch of rocks around, so may as well use them. And stone giants are from the Thunder Howl Mountains as well, so maybe we work with that somehow. All right, so let's see what else we've got. So prominent buildings, we'll worry about that in a little bit. Demographics, majority race or melting pot. We kind of talked about this, but let's say majority race, Dragonborn. I kind of want there to be some slaves, to be honest. Like, I kind of have been putting off, but like a lot of things in D&D include slaves, and it would make some sense for them to have some. Maybe. We'll say maybe slaves. Common languages, Draconic, Common, and Dwarvish. Socioeconomic distribution of citizens. They work very much as a clan, so I'd say it's pretty neutral among all, but the best warriors get, we'll say something like it's going to be small perks. Small perks like better weapons or food. So pretty much everybody's the same. We're going to have to figure out how we want the actual political climate to be, if there is one. Yes, there you go. Bullet, hide armor is an export regional product. Yeah, I like that a lot, Eric. That's a good idea too. I had considered actually using the bullet. I have an idea for that, which again, I don't want to give it away. But it could actually lend very much into this idea that they hunt random crazy things and then ship them all over the world, because they've got to come from somewhere. So I like them more being alive than necessarily dead, but you know, they're going to die occasionally. So, all right. So major trade in the city. So we've kind of talked about that. So I'm going to grab a couple of these. They grow some of them. All right. So we'll grab these first. We'll grab these three. Major trade in the city is going to be these three. Major imports, exports. We're going to have gold from the dwarves. So, I mean, Dragonborn, they strike me as pretty carnivorous. So I'm wondering if they really need much more than the meat of the animals that they kill. But probably, but maybe not. You know, we could say that they have some livestock as well. But we can make whatever livestock that they have something pretty cool. Yep, that's true, Eric. All right, let's see. So they have, they raise, not cattle. We're going to make it something cooler, like a catoblepus that they keep blindfolds on or something. So how are they at making weapons? So we'll talk about that in a little bit, because I had some thoughts there too, but I'm interested in what you guys think. Should they be good at making weaponry, simple weaponry, or should their whole thing be that they get into battles and they take from people? Keeping in mind that I'd like the Dragonborn in this world to be a little bit more of that. In other situations, they'd be, what are they called? Goliaths, where it is kind of this clan mentality. They live mostly outside. Goliaths tend to be nomadic, but I don't want these guys to be nomadic. But I do want them to not necessarily be like artisans. I want them to... I'm leaning more towards scavenging and then potentially improving with some smiths in order to repair things. Cockatrice farming. Cockatrice farming. All right, let's go with it. Cockatrice farming. Cool. Raise cockatrice. So cockatrice farming. They wear blindfolds. I like that. That's good. This is fun doing this with you guys. All right. Major imports, exports, gold from the dwarves. Cockatrice farming, they wear blindfolds as to not turn to stone. Overall wealth. I don't think it matters much to people. Like, I think it's like there's a term for society based on trading. This is like a barter system, yeah, but there's something... Barter economy. I guess it is that simple. All right. No real wealth. Mostly barter economy. Taxation, none. They don't really have much to... They don't really have anything to maintain. They defend their area because they're all in it together. So the people who are soldiers or posted as guards, like it's a thing that they want to do. So I like that. A commune. So they get their weapons through raiding parties. Okay. Obsidian dragonglass weapon crafting. I like that too. So quality weapons as imports. Is food plentiful? So I have to think that through the cockatrice farming, which, fun fact, cockatrice, they taste like chicken. I want to say that they're able to get most of the food that they need through their cockatrice farming, which means that they're going to need to take a good amount of the space as kind of like open land, I guess you want to say, to raise all of these cockatrice. Wild. I like that. Okay, let me just make a quick note of that. Some of the land is reserved as free range cockatrice farming. Now, cockatrice tastes like manticore. Plus defend them from predators somehow. Is food plentiful? Plus, yeah. So I mean, that could be a thing too. So how would well, that could be part of the whole situation. Is occasionally the stone giants come down, try to take some of the cockatrice, and they need to be fought back. Yep, and it's going to be far from the main village, as not to risk petrification. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Okay, so we got a few people watching. Let's see. So government type leaders. So here's something I've been struggling with most of today, trying to think about what I wanted to do with their leaders. I think if you were to have like an elected member from every type of Dragonborn, you're going to have problems. Like you get 15 of them in a room, or even one representative from each type, and you're still going to have a big problem. So I'm thinking that what is it called? A meritocracy. I think that maybe, but like, do they really even need that? Like, does there have to be a head of this clan? Should it just be based off of, old age? Hey, Velixion, nice to see you. Trying to figure out the amount of spare time their economy/ecology affords them. I think most of their spare time is spent trying to better themselves as warriors. It's got to be the only thing I could think about. So like just thinking about like a typical person, they're either going to be hunting, capturing, training, raising cockatrice, trading. Maybe there's like there's got to be some stores. It's been forever since the players have been in an actual town. Yeah, I don't know how much free time they necessarily want or have, but I would imagine most of any free time that they have not doing duties is going to be spent training or like, I don't know, like I got to think training. So I don't know. That sounds a little bit, I don't think they have a whole lot of downtime. As far as the leaders go, so we can get back to that one. Description of any important specifics, police, guards, and crime, soldiers to defend from outside invaders. Very little infighting aside from I guess we'll just call it heritage disparity. I don't know, basically groups of different colored dragons having issues with each other. Crime rate, we'll say virtually none. Can they be bribed? That's a good question, because I don't really think so. Because what do they want? Meat, I guess, but they've got it. they don't want your gold, or they do want gold, but they don't want your jewelry, because they'd rather make it themselves. Maybe they could be bribed with weaponry. Yeah, you know what? So they could be bribed with something that is absolutely a benefit to the whole clan. I just realized I don't have the music going here, and you know that we should. There we go. Cool. And then actually I'll toss this over here too. And over here. And over here. Oh, that one's already there. All right. Cool. How organized are they? How well trained? How strict are they? We'll say extremely well trained. They focus mostly on battle in their early years. Everything is for the clan, despite heritage. Religion, non-existent. Anyone who shows signs of speaking with gods is either exiled or does it in secret. So that's their whole deal, is they don't want religion. They don't believe that gods are going to help them. They believe that they need to be good on their own. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat here. So, doing an annual tournament to determine leaders by combat could be an option. That could be an option, yeah. The High Ugadale is their leader, the almighty tallest. Hey, easy, David. Yes, awesome. Invader Zim, like it. With good meat, yes. So, yeah, I mean, maybe. Sounds like defense would be more of a militia than a standing army. I would agree with that. I'm just wondering where the Dark Cove will be. Going to make getting healed after battle tricky. That's true, and I don't even know what a bardic Dragonborn would be like. Better themselves as warriors, but do they follow the philosophy of, I forget the details, something along the lines of the society that separates its warriors from its scholars? I mean, a meritocracy is like they battle, or the strongest is in charge. Maybe that's who you're thinking of, but I'm not sure. But something that I'm not really necessarily thinking about is how are they going to react to sorcerers? Because sorcerers are going to be not uncommon and could kind of... I guess that they would want to be good at battling against magic. It would probably be something that the normal warriors would train against. So that's something to consider. But all right, let's get back to this. So culture, unique traditions. Okay, so this is kind of where we're getting into the fun stuff and important holidays. So help me think of some fun holidays while we're thinking about some traditions. So traditions is on there. So I remember reading, not sure about 5e. Is there a shamanistic class of some sort? No, I don't think so. I mean, druids would probably be the closest. Natural magic resistance to a point. Yeah, they do have... some of the chromatics have things like poison resistance and such. Midsummer Sun Basking Day. I love it. All right. Midsummer Sun Basking Day. I like that. We'll have to come up with a fun name. We'll just call it Basking Day. Yes. And they bask with the basilisks. Basilisk Day. How do they react to sorcerers? Counterspell. Lots and lots of counterspell. But only if they're also... Yeah. Maybe they... There's a weapon. What's it called? Magician's Judge? Yeah. I think that's a good one for it. All right. So unique traditions. On their... Let's say... So somewhere around their like first birthday, they're essentially equivalent to like a 12-year-old kid. So let's say on their second birthday... No, we'll say during their second year, they go as a group of 3 warriors, one from each, let's do this, one from each heritage group. So we'll say metallic, chromatic, and gem. So from now on, I'll just call those heritage groups. And attempt to capture a griffin. Only one can ride the griffin out. The other 2 need to travel back or potentially have been killed on the mission. So that's going to be a unique tradition. Everybody. So what's the downside of not? If you are not the victor, how about this? So every year, somebody mentioned that, you know, like they'll trade up the leader. So maybe every year, whichever heritage group claims the most griffins. Because with 3,000, you're probably gonna have several people hitting this 2-year age at the same time. So we're gonna have more than one group going up. So we could say whichever group gathers the most griffins, their group is the de facto leader for that year, something like that. I kind of prefer them to not have a specific leader. But we could... Yeah, I don't know. That's strange. If you are not the victor, you get rations cut for a year. Interesting. That's going to create some rivalry for sure. That's a very good idea, Valexian. Another idea I was just kind of thinking of is that they're reclaiming all of these weapons and whatnot. So the person, anybody who brings back a griffin gets their choice of weapon. From whatever was brought in that year or recently or something like that. So then you're going to have the best, they'll have a real reason, and it'll be a status symbol that will be visible. So that's kind of cool. There will probably be like small clan chiefs and stuff. There's going to be people who are more leader like, but I don't want a single person making a decision for the entire group. Their choice of mate probably too. Yeah, that makes some sense. I wonder how old a Dragonborn would typically be when they would mate though, because a couple years seems pretty quick. So I liked that, but I don't. Maybe we increase this to like on their fifth year. On their fifth year, let's see, D&D 5e. When do Dragonborn mate? There are so many friggin' resources in the world. Like, people actually give this stuff thought. Somebody asked this over on the Wizards, blah, 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 da, da, da. In the 4e book, Dragonborn, it talks about them coming from eggs. One of the character backstories, they raise their young, hence the Dragonborn females with breath. Yeah. Of course. Have personal, all right. Okay. I don't care. D&D 5e, how old is a Dragonborn when they have kids? All right. Young Dragonborn grow quickly. They walk hours after hatching, attain the size and development of a 10-year-old human child by the age of 3. Okay, so I had that wrong in my mind, actually. And reach adulthood by 15. Okay. They live to be around 80. All right, so we'll say on their 15th year, when they are officially an adult. That's way better. Okay. During their 15th year, they go as a group of 3 warriors, one from each heritage group, metallic, chromatic gem, and attempt to capture a griffin. Only one can ride the griffin out. The other 2 need to travel back or potentially have been killed on the mission. The winner gets anyone who gets their tames a griffin and rides it back gets their choice of weapon from anything created or purchased that year. Anything available, we'll just say. Anything available in the, I don't know what you want to call, in the stocks. I'll change that later. But that person, male or female, tends to have their choice. I don't want to make it like forced because that's just creepy, but male or female tends to have their choice of mate. Yeah, I like it. Cool. All right, so that's a unique tradition. So what else? I wanted to once you're 15, your life isn't over. So wait, when can they drink? Control over a crop for year of victor, so like prized resource. That's a cool idea. High council, their choice of mate probably, yeah, okay. What if instead of a griffin you bring back a rock? Holy crap. I don't think so. I like the idea, but I feel like they would just all die. Anything created or purchased that year? Yeah, that's terrible phrasing, but still. At least from my point of view. I want the Stabby Bob bought last week. Totally. Drink after the bar mitzvah. Okay, so actually let's make that a holiday. So we need a cool name for this tradition. We need something more than just like this is their 15th birthday, go get a griffin. So we need I don't know that I want to make this one a whiskey pun, but I'm trying to think if there's any whiskeys that have griffins to do with them. Let me pour another whiskey. Oh, that's right, I'm drinking this. This stuff's not bad. It's just, I don't know. It makes me sad, honestly, because Mizunara is just such a rare resource that to break it all up and use it for this, it's just, I don't know. It's sad. All right, so let's see. What can we call this tradition? So when they go get griffins, so that there's maybe something to do about the three groups coming together, but also like divide it. No. Let me look at my whiskeys and try to be encouraged and inspired. Proper 15. Let's see. Holiday, no, we could call it no, I don't know. All right, so does this clan of Dragonborn like gold, not as a currency, but as dragons do? So they like it more to make jewelry out of. But I see where you're going, and actually it's funny. I hadn't really put that one together. Like, why do they wear so much jewelry? It's because they're dragons, and they kind of want to have gold. So that is one of the most obvious things that I will have not thought of. Day of Holly. Everybody plants a holly plant. Interesting. Does holly grow in... I'm kind of picturing this area as actually like fairly fertile. So when you think about what the disintegrated peaks did to this area, it kind of blew a lot of this area apart. So like all of the blackish area is gonna be wasteland, but the mountains kind of stopped the devastation, the Thunderhowl Mountains. And then there's the Passageway of Fangs, which I think when I wrote that, I had it in my mind that the Dragonborn were going to have like immigrated through that pass, and that's why they called it that. But I don't necessarily know that I want that. It could be anything, or it could just have no real name. Maybe it's just the Passageway of Fangs because these guys have fangs. Excuse me. So once we think about what comes in here, so there is a river, there's a path. There's definitely got to be some stuff here. So maybe like, I wish I could ping on the screen. Day of Rising. Day of Rising. That's cool. Because I definitely picture them, they have to climb the mountains. It's going to probably take more than a day. But we could still call it the Day of Rising. I like Day of Rising. Yeah, you know what, Emily? I'm going to go with that. Day of Rising. And then, actually, you know what? Here's where we get wild here. So, Draconic dictionary, I guess. So let's say rise, raise, up. How about the word up? How about Griffin? All right, so let's say raise in Draconic. As in raising a child. So I could kind of have raising a child. That could kind of have a double meaning. Mother's child, as in raising a child of another person. Oh, no, it's not really. Refers to Dragonborn raised by their mother's clan. Nah, that's not. It's like close. It's close, but I think it's too much of a stretch. Small shrink, demon, river, slaughter. Slaughter. Fangsgiving. About as much of a holiday as birthday is. It's celebrated of the day one gets their first fang. Unlike birthdays, it's only celebrated that once per individual. Huh. Fangsgiving. I love that. I love it. That's definitely a thing. All right. So, yeah. Yeah, you know what? What the hell? Fangsgiving. It's an important holiday. Fangsgiving. Celebrated per person on the day that they get their first fang. They get extra rations and celebrate by wearing a headdress made of cockatrice feathers. Yeah. Huge individual celebration, a lifetime of birthdays all in one feast. Some play on the gathering. Nice. Scalarnalia. I like that. Scalarnalia. Like Saturnalia. That's pretty good. All right. So important holidays. Midsummer Sun Basking Day. What do they do on Sun Basking Day? Let's see. So this is once a year, on the hottest day of the year. Every year. Nobody works. All the Dragonborn go to we'll need a name for that river name, and spend the day in the water and hanging out on. We'll give that big mountain in this one, like kind of right in the middle there. That's gonna need a name too. Hanging out on large rock and sunning themselves. It's basically a day of just total rest and fun. I think that's great. Sun Basking Day. Lay naked in the sun, mouth agape like a crocodile. Yep. Perfect. Now, another fun thing I do, and we'll throw one of these in there just for fun. I'm not going to switch over to the screen yet, just because I want to make sure I'm not going to spoil anything with some of the stuff I've been creating. But let me give it just a sec to go over to Midjourney. Adamantite. So that's a thing. Nope. Actually, this won't give anything away. Okay, so let's switch over to... Nope, this one here. So one thing I've been doing lately with AI generating art is I'm going to imagine. So we're going to go Dragonborn in Dungeons and Dragons style. And we'll say many Dragonborn in Dungeons and Dragons style. In a river, on a rock, sunning themselves, dancing, party. What else? Let's say, I don't want to throw cockatrice in there, but I kind of do. Midwinter, burn the cold day, some sort of fire-filled defiance festival. Do young Dragonborns have control of their breath ability? Like, are they going to burn a house down when they burp? We'll get to that in just a sec. All right, so many Dragonborn in Dungeons and Dragons style, in a river, on a rock, sunning themselves, dancing, party, blue sky, gray ground, rocky. Yeah, I'll just go with that. AR 16 by 9. And, oh, never mind. Got to throw all the stupid things. You ready? Cinematic, epic, volumetric, lighting. All right, cool. And we'll let that, we'll let the bot churn away at that for a little bit. Cool. All right, so somebody asked about Dragonborn babies. So, good question. Can they control their breath? I would like to say yes. I think when they first start figuring it out, I think it needs to be something that they do on purpose, and they would probably be told about it as a possibility from early on, so that they don't burn down their house. But that brings up an interesting question. How old do you think that they would be when they would first kind of get that power? I don't know. Probably not a baby. How's Rubium River? It just means red unless you want to use lore behind the name. Swami's here. Wow. Hey, Swami, what's going on? Dragonborn Burning Man. Midwinter. Okay. Burn the Cold Day. Some sort of fire-filled defiance festival. That's an interesting idea, especially because I do think it would probably get... Actually, does it get very cold here? Let's see. I actually don't think it gets very... No, because it's pretty much right near the jungle. So I don't think it's going to get overly cold here. Or at least that was never really the intent of this area. Because we've got, the Whispering Expanse here with the Northern Whispering Expanse, the Ravenfields. This is all going to stay mostly green. So I like the idea, especially as a counter to the Midsummer Basking Day. But yeah. All right, so let's see. Thought Dragonborn were Elder Scrolls. So they're in Elder Scrolls. Just a different name. Clause in the clause. Contracts can only be written once a year. This is that day. Oh, lovely map. Thank you. There's Dragonborn in D&D. Yeah, and they look quite a bit different. All right, let's see what Midjourney did with this drawing here. So we'll go back over to the notes. So I don't want to necessarily increase the size here, but it looks okay. Doesn't look great. So let me make this a little bigger. So obviously, because it's an AI bot, it's not going to be fantastic. For the most part, it's just going to be very rough. I need to... means I kind of have to refine this a bit. So if I scroll to the right, like some of these look cool conceptually, but they don't actually look like anything. So I think I'll have to teach it what a Dragonborn looks like, and I'll try it another time. I don't want to do a whole lot of those because I only have so many of them a month, because I'm cheap. Speaking of which, if you're having fun, consider joining the Patreon. You can find a link to it in the description below. We are actually, we're pretty much one patron away from being able to hit our first or second goal, the one that basically lets the channel pay for itself. So, consider. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Actually, what you're seeing right now is generally, I don't do it as a stream, but the result of what we're doing tonight is kind of along the lines of what I tend to give patrons. There's history of, the Pantheon and all this stuff over there too. I always feel a little tacky asking for patrons, but it does help the channel a lot. So if you're able to, it helps a lot. Okay, so let's go back to, I think we had some fun with this, and maybe we can even get back to it. So keep those ideas coming. Let's go to factions. All right, so we kind of described this a little bit, but we have 3 different factions. Actually, factions are going to be different than clans. In the case of factions, so there are 2 factions that are pervasive across the entirety of the world. One is the Thieves Guild, called the Shadow of Brakoth, which we know about. And then there is the Fang and Feather, which, for those in the know, is named after the bar at Crowded Barrel Distillery. But they are the Adventuring Guild, if you want to call it that. But for the most part, it's like hunting. It's like a Monster Hunting Guild. So, Monster Hunting Guild. I kind of have these 2 backwards. But let's think of something different. So, maybe we have like an Alchemist Guild here. I like the idea that Vutha was not a rare person, more just that he was trained in alchemy and went to go work at the Alawith Harbor. I think that would actually be cool. So we could have the Alchemist Guild represented here, which the Alchemist Guild does not have a name yet. So maybe that's something that we could consider. But let's think a little bit about what it means to be an Alchemist Guild. So guilds in general help set prices, provide potions, provide medicine, words are hard, and I don't want to go too much into this, but let's say that they hire out Dragonborn to procure rare materials and components. possible quest here. Cool. Alchemist were distiller. Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. So we could say the alchemists make alcohol. We'll keep that a little vague. But actually, that reminds me. I wanted to get back to the important holiday is going to be the post. What did we call it? We called it Day of Rising. So the Day of Rising is when they go get the griffins. But then we're gonna have the Day of Drinking afterwards. So. That's true. Alchemy is centered in gold creation and life, so good for dragons. So yeah, it definitely makes sense for them to be alchemists. Good call. Let's see. So what do we want to call like the next day? Think Mardi Gras, but the day after the Day of Rising. So I'm thinking like they paint the griffins. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So let's see. So after the Day of the Rising, so then we have the next day. I mean, we could say something kind of predictable like the Day of Dawning or Night of Falling, Night at the Dawn. Let's see. Night of Falling, the Dawn, the Day of Dawning. I want it to be the whole day. So we've got the Rising, which is related to climbing the mountains, flying, etc. But then you have the something else, which is supposed to be a celebration, but is absolutely going to just cause a whole lot of hangovers. What's David saying? After drinking too much, they get a fangover. Fang under crash. Let's see, what else? So we've got so you would get the griffins. And then I love the idea of them painting the griffins to represent, like, let's say it's a red dragonborn that flies them back. That griffin's going to be painted with red. The gem, I hate to say it, maybe they're covered in glitter, I don't know. Interesting. So what else? Adorned with gems of some sort. That's going to be part of it, is that the warrior who came back with it needs to, him and maybe a couple of, or him or she, they need to take a couple of their closest friends or whatever, and they are responsible for decorating the griffin and parading it in front of the entire clan, who, despite whoever wins, everybody there is happy because it represents their ability to keep their lifestyle, is procuring these griffins. The Day of Tagging. Day of Tagging. Oh, tagging, because paint. I want it to be something... It's a Day of... I really wish I could find something cool in the Draconic Library here that would give me a little bit of words. Let's see. So we've got female, no. Valley, so Rux. Well, we already came up with a name for this area. A rush. All right. I don't necessarily want to go through a dictionary with you guys. That doesn't sound very fun, but I do want to look for like a minute. So to fly, Ostrat. The Dawn of Ostrat. So now, if to fly is there, what about to land? To land. No. What would be the opposite of Ostrat? Animal, military rank, savior, good. That's kind of funny that they have savior there. Forest, sword, red, tavern, root, sedative, take, dragon, portmanteau of har and hlar. Okay, I'm going to just make a note of this, but so unless we come up with something cool, let's just call it Night of, or Dawn, Day of Dawning. I don't know. We'll call it that for now, but I don't like it. This is the day after the Day of Rising. The assistant to the assistant manager. Day of Rising. Those that returned with griffins will go and paint them in their heritage words, and present them for the entirety of the clan. I'm going to say tribe, because that's going to be the entire everybody. Like, yeah. This is a celebratory event, even among the those that didn't win, as it represents their ability to maintain their lifestyle and provide for the tribe as a whole. I'm loving this like tenuous alliance between the different types of Dragonborn, because they're not dragons. Like, they don't need to fight each other, but it's always going to be kind of in the back of their mind. And possibly, depending on how the players, interact with this whole area, it could very well spur on some sort of a problem. And maybe there is some stuff there. Maybe there's somebody who doesn't like the status quo and they want to upset it. Maybe all of these things are considerations. All right, so they've got the Alchemist Guild, which needs a cool name. Do the different varieties, colors, whatever, mingle, intermarry, or stay isolated? I gotta say they stay isolated. I don't think that they're that close. Yeah, I think I gotta go with that. So let's see. I gotta crash soon, but this is fun and will be awesome to see in play. Take good care. I'll see you, Emily, if you're still here. Aranak was interesting. Day of Tomorrow. Day of Tomorrow. Day of Tomorrow. I like that. So you said Aranak. Is that one of the words that you saw? Yeah, okay. Oh, I figured it was like one word away. I like that a lot. All right, we're going to go with that. So Day of... We're just going to call it Aranak. And Irenk? Irenk. I'm going to say Aranak. Kind of like Asarak. Let's see. Perhaps the assorted types must bring some items for distribution to the winners. That's a cool idea. Perfectly reasonable answer. Just thinking that's something that you need to have decided ahead of time. Totally, Steve. Absolutely. And it's funny because as I answered that, I was like, boy, like in real life, this is kind of racist, but they're totally racist. Like, they are a race and they're different colors and they're keeping themselves separate. So it makes some sense. I would say that they probably don't even intermingle in between the different colors within the metallic and chromatic and gem. Hey, Slow-Mo Hippo, what's going on? So Slow-Mo, Eric is here as well. So Eric, that's Dave. So, all right, so let's keep going. So inns and taverns. All right, so we're going to have some cool stuff here. So we're going to want a couple of inns at least. Probably even, would they? We will definitely need some inns because there's just got to be a place to stay. But the alternative is do adventure, because we said at the beginning that they are okay with people visiting as long as they are strong enough. Like, I think that they would probably have a problem with people coming in like via airship, which, by the way, I do want there to be airships in this game. But I think if people came in via airship and just like landed in the middle and came off, I don't think they would like that. But people who actually take the time to come through the mountains and emerge there, I think are going to be greeted as strong and capable and worth having a conversation with. That sort of seems like the golds are allied with the silvers, brass, etc. They'll hang out at times, but at the end of the day, they're distinct and go their own ways. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and I 100% I want airships. I actually think Hobblehaven is probably going to be where they all come from. But there's another town, and I'll just kind of show you guys this as well, because why not? So you've heard of Hobblehaven. Let's see. That's way too far. We want to go to Lithuan. Sorry. So Hobblehaven is here. And again, anybody who joins the Patreon, there's a whole write-up about Hobblehaven. Similar to this, except it's written more as if it was like one of the actual D&D books. And Ed did that, which was awesome. I actually had a whole lot of fun reading through it. But anyway, so Hobblehaven is a world of gnomes that are tinkerers, and they do all kinds of crazy stuff. And they have this really cool you could call it it's more of a tradition. Think bullfighting, and then I'm going to leave it there because there's more described in the thing, and I don't want to give away too much. But I really, really hope that the players get to Hobblehaven someday because I'm going to play the shit out of it. It's going to be so fun. But Hobblehaven is probably going to be making airships, and there's another town over here, over on Avera, called Windia, which is filled with Aarakocra, which I will show you guys for anybody who doesn't know. Aarakocra. Let's go over here. So Aarakocra are basically bird people. Whoops, move my head for a sec. So they're bird people, which are awesome, and they come from the they come from the elemental plane of air, and I want there to be sporadic openings to the various elemental planes throughout Dimidium that didn't exist prior to the breaking of the world. And Windia is one of those places. You've actually seen another place, but I won't go too much into that because I don't want to go too much into that. I will say the Disintegrated Peaks. I think that's probably not much of a stretch to tell you that probably goes to the world of the Land of Fire, the elemental plane of fire. But we'll see. The Stonegate could be a cool tavern in name, a reference to getting through the mountains to arrive there. I like that, and actually we could put that kind of down near where it does come out here as a you are not in the core area of where the Dragonborn are. You're just entering. It's the gate. You are at the Stonegate Inn. Love it. Let's do that. All right. So inn number 1 is going to be the Stonegate Inn. This is so cool. Like, I hope that they get here just because it'll be cool to reference things that you all helped me come up with. All right, so this is where the any adventurers coming through. This doesn't have a name yet, so we'll just call it the Southern Pass. Let me go over to the notes. The Southern Pass will first arrive. They'll likely be greeted warmly because making it through the mountains isn't easy, thus proving the, I guess, what would you call them? I kind of wanted to say trespasser because they're kind of passing through thus proving the we'll just say adventurer worthy. Cool. All right, so the innkeeper. So we need a fun name for an innkeeper. All right, so this is the first time we're going to come up with a fun name. So we're going to do that. Ignore the whatever. Wow. Man, that's what you got to do. You got to just have ads that run on people's websites when they're not paying attention. All right, so we got to come up with a cool name for, I usually go male names, so we're just going to go female names. Let's see. Dawn Cuck. Man, how do you even know if these are good names or not? It's just, let's see, Felftad? No. Prurdick. Now, these are hard to say. Fetish? I don't know. All right. Gerdic. We got oatmeal down here. Lefendeth. Sapora. Lefendeth Sapora. I like that one. All right. The innkeeper's name is going to be Lefendeth, which sounds almost like you have a lisp. Like, yes, my name is Lefendeth. So, salt. I'm Lefendeth Sapora. No, Sapora. Okay, cool. We'll worry about the menu later, but I'll just make a note. Cockatrice is on the menu, boys. Rumors. So this is where it could get fun, but this is a part that I don't necessarily want to do with you guys because this might give things away in the game. But, so TBD. All right, so now we need inn number 2. So last time I used this, I was making the Drunken Seal. All right, so now we need another tavern. And I'm thinking, so let's see. So the people come in, they come through the Southern Pass. Whatever happens in here, which, just thinking about it and where they are now, we already know stone giants live in the Thunderhowl Mountains. I have to imagine that this pass right here is going to involve giants in some way, shape, or form. But maybe not. Maybe harpies, maybe griffins, maybe anything else. Maybe manticores. So they come here, they get to the Stonegate Inn. Fantastic name. Although very dwarven, a little bit dwarven too. Cockatrice eyes are a specialty. That's cool. All right, let's do that. Cockatrice eyes are a specialty. All right, in number 2. So let's see. They get here. They cross across the river. I'm thinking that they over on the right-hand side is where they are raising all of the cockatrice, kind of in this little inlet here. I wish you guys could see my mouse. Is there a way to do that? OBS show mouse. OBS. All right, so let's do this. So we've got. No. I can do that if I was doing it. Well, I'll look it up later. But next time I do this, I'll allow you guys to see my mouse movement as well, because that would be nice. So we got the running in. The running in. That'll be if there's like a nest of griffins up above. All right, so they go by the cockatrices. I have to imagine, just thinking about the length of time that people travel, I think it's going to take them like a couple of days or a day and a half maybe, unless they're on a mount, to get up to where everybody else is. So they're going to need another place to stay. So they're going to raise the cockatrice about a day's travel away from the main area that everybody lives, which makes some sense. Keep them far away. So about halfway through, kind of like there's going to be another guard area or guard tower or something like that here. So we could have like a small village, kind of, if you're looking at the river here, where coming up, it bends to the left, it circles around, bends to the right. Right at that corner on the bottom right there, I think is where there's going to be another inn. It's going to be, let's even say it's near the river, and when they come out for that whole basking day, people will stay there. We'll even say that place makes some money from travelers that they'll use because they just need to have money as part of their trading. So that makes some sense. But let's give it kind of a water theme. Let's give it some sort of a basking day theme. So something to do with basking. Or just being warm, or being... We could talk about the gray ground. Let's see. Something about an inn. But it's going to be like luxury. So what's another name? Instead of saying an inn, we want to be like a higher end. We could name it something like grotto. Like the blind cockatrice. The lazy river. The running... I like the word grotto. I kind of want to use that. So let's say like the grand grotto, the Playboy grotto. No. Let's see. Grotto. No. Getting there grotto. I don't know. We could just call it the grotto. But that's... Are there... Glen Grotto? We can go Glen Grotto. The higher inn where you find adventure work. The higher inn. The Dread Succubus, complete with the stuffed mounted trophy over the bar. Wow. See, this is where I struggle a little bit. Like I'm still thinking too practical. It needs to be crazy. Like, all right, so let's make this one crazy, right? So this place that exists. So we are still near the cockatrice. So this place is gonna be built out of enemies who have attempted to attack. No. All right. I know kind of what's going on here. So people who have attempted to take over this land before have had the cockatrice released on them and been petrified. They then later use the bodies of those that have been turned to stone as decorations around the grotto, or maybe we call it the maybe not grotto. We go with more like a petrification. So we could go granite grotto. We could go something like that. The sultry house, the skeleton. You guys and your puns are killing me. All right, so I love the idea that this could serve as both decoration and a warning of don't be a dick. So we're gonna call this. We need a word. My gaming group did that once. Took over a bar, nearly fell under the control of a succubus, killed her, preserved the body, and mounted the corpse on a wall. Wow. All right, so words that are similar to grotto. Whoops, that's not how you spell grotto. Grotto. Cave, cavern, tunnel, grot, abyss, lair, pit, delve. I'm not against like a crazy, almost like bad, devilish dark word. Delve. No. Cavern, cavity, chamber, den. Den works. We can go with den. The diatomaceous diatomaceous den. What actually does I know it's filled with diatoms, but earth diatomite, soft sediment. Okay. No, I mean they're not gonna. That's not the right way to go. Hollow, rock shelter, subterranean, something lair, dragon theming. Den sounds a bit seedy. Yeah, it does. You're right. I want to focus more on the petrified bodies. Like they didn't make it in. So, or just going off the puns that you guys are throwing out there. Well, let's see. So it's filled with Dragonborn. The Medusa's Den. What about cockatrice? Let's focus on the word cockatrice. So cockatrice, the cockatrice cavern, and then maybe because it's not in a hill. I mean, it could be. I could always adjust the map. I want to focus on like the color. Yeah, right. The Medusa's Den. Like, would you actually go into the Medusa's Den? Chances are no. You just walk in. It's like a very motherly, like Dragonborn. Like, oh, come in, have some tea. I'm nervous. All right, so let's see. Cockatrice, the Cockatrice Chalet. The Cockatrice no, not chapel. What about the Cockatrice Chalet? You're in the mountains. The Chalocatrice. All right, I'm gonna go Cockatrice Chalet for a little bit. I did tell you that my players did with when they allied with a Medusa in an evil campaign. I don't recall, but feel free to share with the class. All right, we're gonna go with the Cockatrice Chalet. I don't know how to spell chalet, so I'm gonna chalet. Not chalice. Is that? No, that's chalice. Chalet. I don't know how to spell chalet. I'm gonna spell it later. Chalet. Thank you. I should have assumed. All right, so in the chalet, we're gonna have the innkeeper. Again, I think this is going to be... No, actually, you know what I think this is going to be? I think this is going to be as much people who... I think that the people who are watching the cockatrice will spend the night here as well. So I think this is going to be a rather large... so let's do... Yeah, description. So we're going to go... The Cockatrice Chalet is going to be a larger inn that hosts anyone who is shepherding... Nope. It's not seafaring. I love it when shepherd, right? How does it not know a shepherd is two P's? That's why. Shepherding. I love. Is that right, Gavin? Because if that's right, that sure doesn't look right. Shepherding. Oh my god, it really is. Wow. All right, no wonder I couldn't spell it. English is stupid. All right, the Cockatrice Chalet, a larger inn that hosts anyone who is shepherding the cockatrice at the time, and any adventurers who make it past the Stone Gate Inn. The chalet is decorated with the bodies of many people of all different races who have attempted to take over the, what do we call this? Glen Dragonic. I freaking love that. Take over Glen Dragonic in the past and failed. Hundreds of statues. I want it to be imposing, and I want the statues are statues decorate the path up to the inn from long before you can even see it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so they're the innkeeper. So I would say, is there even an innkeeper? Also rustlers, shepherd, sheepherder, same word. Yeah. Do they have cockatrice auctions as done here for cattle horses? I don't think so, because there's no real use for the cockatrice to the Dragonborn here, other than food. I think it's really just our way of making sure they can all eat. Is there's many cockatrice, and people who actually, you know what? Actually, so innkeeper, but not only is there an innkeeper, but I want there to be. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the word. Artificer. I want there to be an artificer, innkeeper, but also an artificer who works on goggles that specifically protect against the cockatrice's gaze. Yeah. The idea being that, like, it doesn't make sense to put a blindfold on all the cockatrice because that's stupid. So you need to protect yourself as the shepherd. So now you need, instead of wearing a blindfold, you need some goggles that are specifically enchanted to protect against petrification. So, perfect. But I want it to be done by an artificer because that's way more fun. Make a petrified statue stand behind the counter to drive the point in. Yes, from Specialty Gems mine nearby. Yes, perfect. These are made from specialty gems that are mined from the Thunder Howl Mountains. Perfect. Awesome idea. Dave, you're very good at this. It is a gaze attack. If you can cover the creature's eyes, they lose the power. Totally. But if you're talking about putting a blindfold on, 1,000 cockatrice versus 10 shepherds, you're better off investing in some enchanting. So. Oh, they petrify with poison, huh? Let's look that up. D&D 5e, cockatrice. Maybe we'll change this a little bit. Looks like a hideous turn flesh into stone. With its bite, you're right. Okay. Good point. Con save, throwing a magical... Alright, so instead of goggles, we're talking more some sort of armor. So we'll change it from gaze. But also an artificer who works on armor that specifically protect against the cockatrice's bite. These are made from specialty gems. You could still be made from the gems. Mine from the Thunder Howl Mountains. Alright. Yeah, you know what? Actually, you guys are really kind of changing my mind here. All right, so we're gonna change this from. I wanted to incorporate an artificer, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think we're gonna lean heavier into the alchemist. Alchemist can concoct a serum. I freaking hate using words like that. The serum, or it's serum. That protects against a cockatrice's bite for 6 months. Perfect. And one of the components, because I want to get that gem in there. One of the components comes from the Thunder Howl Mountains, and is panned for in the... Did we ever... Actually, I don't think we ever named that river. Let's come up with a fun name for this river. I love how part of this stream has just been you guys correcting my spelling, which is totally fine. If I didn't spell so poorly, then it would be unnecessary. All right, so it's Pan 4 in the river. Do the red Dragonborn refuse to take serum? Ooh, probably more like the green Dragonborn, right? Why would the red... let's see. D&D Beyond. Let's look this up. Dragonborn. I'm trying to remember which version of them does not... Chromatic Dragonborn. Red is fire, yeah. Oh, evil political. Okay. I was trying to think. I'm pretty sure the green are immune to poison. But yeah. Let's see. Creating so black is acid, blue is lightning, green is poison. Is it a poison though? D&D 5e cockatrice. I think it's a poison. Piercing damage, and the target must succeed a DC 11 con save against being magically petrified. So it's actually not a poison. On a failed save, the creature begins to turn to stone, is restrained, and must repeat the saving throw on the end of its turn. On a success, petrified for 24 hours. All right, so these cockatrice actually are more powerful because they are. Just because they are. And their petrification lasts until it's undone. I said, yeah, I saw you said rubium. So rubium, let's look that color up. Because you know what, I kind of like the you led into that with the idea of color. Apparently, the word scrotum showed up. I don't want to know what a rubium scrotum is. Basic term for the adjective red. Add a note. Okay. Is that Donald Trump's head on a coin? Oh, cool. All right. Rubium. I am reddish. I guess I kind of don't get it. But let's do this instead. Hex codes for red. Let's see if there's anything really interesting here. So we got red, salmon, scarlet, barn red, fire brick, chili, the Chili River, imperial, maroon, Ferrari, burgundy, crimson, sangria, mahogany, carmine, the Carmine River, because it's near a mine, dandy apple. All right, so actually you guys are gonna have to help me out with this one. What are we thinking with like red spot? What do we have that's red back here? We got straight wheat. We got Johnny Walker Red Label. We could call it the Boonabin. That's a red. The Sanguine River. Yeah, oh, we could call it the Redbreast River. We could call it the Redbreast. Huh. So this is going to be the river that they're bathing in too during basking day. So we could, but there's no, and I'm cool with being like, hey, you know what? The river is tinted a little bit red from some of the minerals that are coming out of the mountain too. Sanguine does sound good, but I feel like it's cliche, right? Like if you're gonna do sanguine, it's got to be about vampires. Let's try this. So cool name for red water. 100 baby names that mean water. That's not what I'm looking for. 100 clever names meaning red. All right. Okay, Adam. What the hell? These are not... What? No. Go away. Red jasmine. Okay, I get what they're going for, but that's not what I'm looking for. Red water. Oh, I thought it said redneck. Never mind. I probably shouldn't just click on random websites. I'm going to end up popping something up here that you guys don't want to see. 100 dragon names, including ice and fire fictional. Oh, that's... Actually, all right, so let's even go with this. So, I'm gonna stay on this page for a sec because I want to look at something in my notes that I don't want you guys to see. Gonna look at dragons. What? I don't have my dragon? Hold on. I have the name of the dragon that took over the Diminished Peaks, and I want to find his name. Oh, you know what? I think I only have his name in Foundry, so that's okay. All right, so we'll get back to the Dragonborn town here and go back to our notes. If there's iron in the rocks of the streams that form the river, you get something that looks a lot like root beer. Ferrous. What about a take on sanguine? Alternative to sanguine. Color. Rosy, glowing, rubicund. Tanned, ruddy. Florid. What about florid? A barbarous. Bloodthirsty. Well, so let's actually, this is something I try to do when I start thinking about this. So, all right. So the Dragonborn have been here for a long time. That's clear. It's been, I think it's been several thousand years since the divide of all the continents. I'll have to double check my notes there, but let's just say it's been at least a couple thousand. And the Dragonborn have presumably been here since then. Let's say that even the shattering of the world breaking, is what led them to come to this area. So now they've been here. This river is here. It's coming out of the Thunderhowl Mountains. Rubicon, crossing the Rubicon. I don't know why I'm getting so hung up on this river name. I just want it to be cool. So this is where they go to relax. So it would make sense that they would be the ones to, because chances are that this river probably didn't exist prior to the breaking of the world. So they would be the ones to probably name it. I'm cool with saying that it probably has like a reddish tint to it, just because I think that's cool. I don't really even remember how we got on the red concept, but the idea in this is that not only do they use it for basking, but they also use it to pan for specific minerals that they use against the cockatrice petrification. So there's going to be some crazy stuff in this water, and it's coming out of the Thunderhowl Mountains, which could be coming from runoff from the dwarves or possibly from an underground stream that is just exiting the mountains. Either one is fine. I could see it having... What about like slag? Like the word slag is cool. Like the slag stream. Rivière Rouge. Yeah, I'm not seeing the French thing going with the Dragonborn though. What about, is there anything we can do with like Speyside? Just because they're already in Glen Dragonic. Fucking Glen Dragonic is so funny. That's so good. I think I told you guys this before, but I have to show you. So there's a set of islands down here called the Orkney Isles. I don't know if I ever showed you that. And this is the Titanic chasm that Talin got her dagger from. I haven't even seen half of these places in a while. I made most of this map like a year ago at this point, so it's kind of cool to look back at. All right, so this river needs a cool name, and I guess we'll just have to skip it for now because I'm just not seeing anything I love, but we'll give it a name eventually. All right, so keep going. We'll go down our notes. I know it's getting late. I think I'll probably cut this pretty soon. Let's see. So we need some shops. Actually, that's always a fun thing. Rubrum Flemen, Fireball River. You're kind of onto something there. What about like? What if it's like super red, but it's not hot? It's cold, but it's red, and we call it. What's another name for Dragonfire? 100 words for Dragonfire. What if we look at that Draconic dictionary again? They have to have a word for fire. Oh yeah, Ixen. That's right, Ixen Varkok. Yeah. Lava Run. I don't know if it's that red. It's not orange. I don't know. I feel like we're getting too hung up on this. All right, let's do this. So let's keep going with the innkeeper. So alchemists can concoct a serum that protects against a cockatrice's bite for 6 months, which is, we'll just say that's roughly how long a shepherd would be hanging with the cockatrice. One of the components comes from the Thunderhowl Mountains and it's panned for in the river. Wow, all of that time was spent just for that one little variable. Cool. How many people do we have actually watching? There's a few people watching. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out. So let's see. So we've got shop number 1. So now we have to figure out where our shops are going to be. I feel like it makes sense for there to be... Well, let's think about this. So I don't want to get into too many important NPCs or some of the shops make some sense, but I definitely want there to be like an alchemy shop. There should be a... Oh yeah, that's what I want. So I want a few different things. There's a few shops I had in mind for this place. So we have alchemy supplies / potion shop. I want there to be a pet shop. Menagerie. No, I'm overusing the word menagerie today. So the pet shop is going to have a number of small animals that are procured by some of the warriors on their day of rising, but not suitable for shipping. So like a pseudo dragons, pseudo dragon, a weasel. What else? So like a blink dog, maybe that'd be kind of fun. Let's see, what else would be kind of cool? Like a small animal, like a badger. Pretty much anything from the gray bag of tricks. That could be cool. All right, so we've got an alchemy supply. We've got a pet shop. We've got definitely gonna have like used weapons emporium. Cockatrice feed. Why not? Cockatrice blankets. How does that work? That's magic. A warehouse holding cockatrice feed. Let's see. We're gonna have. Oh, excuse me. So I want to do like. I want to get like, not cockatrice headdresses, but I want like a cape of feathers, like a feather cape / feather hats. Maybe we'll have a haberdashery. Copper River. You know, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe we just call it. Maybe we call it. Oh, what if the river is like iridescent, and that was a sign that all of these Dragonborn that was where they were meant to be. We could call it the iridescent river and call it something like that. And the idea is that it's got all these different colors from all these random minerals that are washed out of the Thunderhowl Mountains by the mining of the dwarves. I kind of like that. Is there another word for iridescent? Rock curry. So the shimmering stream, the glittering, sparkling coruscanting, the dazzling, the shining, the gleaming gully. What is a gully? Make gullies or deep channels in land. A ravine formed by the action of water. Maybe we make it deep and we call it like the Glimmering Gully. That sounds really like not Dragonborn. that sounds like fairy, you know. I don't know. All right, so let's see. What else do we want? Is there any other time to duck out? Have a good night, everyone. Yeah, I think it's about 11:30. I think I'm gonna probably shut it down pretty soon too. I feel like I could keep going on this for a while. But I didn't get to any of the drawing tonight. But I think maybe I'll keep that for another time. Dancing River, but it doesn't fit. Yeah, but like glimmering gully, like dancing, the shimmering stream is like too small though. Like it's got to be a river. So it's got to be like the river dance, the reflective river, the raucous. No, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Polychromatic. Polychrome. This is the problem with being creative, is like nothing ever sounds good in the moment. But anyway, all right. So I think I'm going to pop off at this point. It's been awesome doing this. Actually, I could definitely see myself doing this again. And I wanted to give myself kind of an easier one, doing the effervescent cauldron. I freaking love that, except it's not a cauldron. But I might even change the map for that, because that's a cool name. Let's call it the effervescent cauldron for the moment. And maybe I'll just make like a body of water as part of the whole situation. Anyway, all right. So thank you all for joining me here tonight. I will definitely do this again. There's a million places in this world that I want to help define, and having all of your help was really fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. So cheers.